Call the Board of Works meeting to order. Okay, Phyllis, we have roll call, please.
Craig Koshaw.
Here.
Bill Carba.
Here.
Aye.
Here. We were emailed the minutes from our May 21st meeting. If you've had a chance to review those, I'd look for a motion to approve them or amend them.
Approve as email.
Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Minutes have been approved. First thing up, Carrie has something. We've got Carrie going first because she's got a softball game to go to. This is for approval to update the valves on 13th Street lift station. Is that out by Kmart area out that way? Or is that
right in front of the Family Eye Clinic?
Yeah. Update the valves on 13th Street lift station and the installation of new return line piping. Go ahead, Carrie, what do you got?
So it's all using the guaranteed savings money, so I just need permission to proceed forward with those items and the money in here.
And who's doing this work?
With those things.
Okay, it's all good. Who was doing the...
That's who the contract is with. So.
Okay.
I think the city will provide some help, and on the 13th Street they have to keep the flow back for so long and need to have somebody there to pump and haul it back to you. And then the same thing as the plane.
How long will it take, you think, Carrie? You got any idea?
They're expecting 6 to 8 hours for 13th Street, and then it doesn't really give us a time.
One day stuff?
13th Street will be a day. The RAD pumping, the return activated sludge, will be a little bit longer because we're cutting through the concrete wall, adding piping, just to be able to get your return activated sludge. Each secondary clarifier, 2 of them are hooked together, so this will eliminate that so that each secondary clarifier has its own piping. How much is the cost? The cost of the piping is $26,311. And the valves are $19,008. So that's $19,008.
So it's the same as the email that you had forwarded out to us?
The exact same thing.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion is second to allow you to proceed with that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
So I will get you copies of this.
Before you leave, is there anything you have that's exciting that you need to share with everyone or not? Or?
Exciting?
Okay, not exciting. I forgot, this is waste treatment. This is
It's all exciting.
Oh, yeah.
We're bug farmers. No, I don't think there's anything.
Okay.
All right.
Very good.
Good luck
Thanks.
at the softball game.
Yep. Leonard. Lenny has 3 things. The first is Officer Dan Hunter. After his 1 year was completed, we did not remove him from his probationary status because Lenny and Deputy Chief Mike didn't think he was quite ready, and they had a talk with him. It's been, 3 months now since? Yeah. And how's he doing?
He's actually doing very well. I had his sergeant, Kevin Gerber, give me bi-weekly reports of his performance, and he progressed. Each report observed by his sergeant and his work conduct. I also contacted the prosecuting attorney's office, turned in excellent work, and just today I kind of received a complaint about him on a traffic stop. And I just talked to Kevin Gerber, and it was totally opposite what the woman said. He was professional, did everything by the book. So audio and video goes a long way. So I had Kevin check that before I come to the meeting tonight. Just say, we do get those once in a while, and since he's new, Kevin said he did everything by the book. So it was a traffic stop. So
Good deal. So
I'm recommending him to get probation and receive his patrolman's base pay of this year. He's doing really well.
I'd make a motion then that we go ahead and remove Daniel Hunter from probationary status to full-time patrolman wages.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you on that. And then we have a resignation letter from Joel. Do you have a copy of that, or?
I believe I sent it to the...
Yeah, I had a copy. Just very brief. Joel Jackson wrote Chief Corral. With this letter, I wish to inform you that I'm resigning my position with Decatur Police Department as a police officer effective June 1, 2019. I've enjoyed working with everyone in the department and wish everyone the best. Sincerely, Joel Jackson. So, he is gone.
His last day was Saturday, June 1st.
First. So, just making that a matter of record. Okay.
Do
we need a motion for that?
Yeah.
I make a motion to make that a matter of record.
Second. 2 seconds, okay. Take your choice. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. And then lastly, the good news, while Joel left us, the PD has went through all the required testing and interviews for a young man named Eric Mitchell. He came in City Hall last week. Craig and I both met him. Pretty impressive young man.
Yes.
And I liked him. I liked him a lot. The fact that he's Adams County born and raised and wants to stay in Adams County.
Correct.
I didn't get the sense that he would be one that would want to leave us, unless he just flat out didn't like the job. But I think he's wanted a job like this for a long time.
Yes, yes.
So Lenny would like to seek approval to proceed with the hiring of Eric Mitchell to replace Officer Joel Jackson. And if we approve that, I think tomorrow morning you're taking him down to Perf, right?
Yeah, based on that, the PERF really worked with us. If it didn't work out, then we could cancel, but she went in and scheduled because they're so busy, they put us down as a courtesy, so.
So if you get him down there tomorrow for Perf testing, then what's the long-range goal to hope for what's your...
I believe Phyllis in her office will receive the results within 10 working days around there from PERF. And then I would, as soon as I get that okay from Phyllis, then I would take him up to Braitman's to get all his stuff going, because it's pretty much it's a go at that point.
Okay.
So I'm looking at July 1st to get
Start.
him on, or sooner, so.
Great.
After interviewing the candidate, I would make a recommendation and a motion that we hire him.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank
There we
you.
go.
Thank you.
3 easy things, huh?
Yep, very easy.
It's never this easy when Mahan was, We're not going to roast you tonight, Mike. I told you this morning, nothing but respect tonight. Yes, I have photos. I'm not going to use them. You guys want to see them? Phyllis, I think it was you that informed me about this. Agreement for posting of parking ordinance signs at Decatur Ace Hardware and American Legion Post 43. These are our normal parking lot. This parking lot is protected by ordinance number, whatever it is. That several other churches in
Ordinance 1988-21.
1988-21, and Ace Hardware wants to post this sign, as well as the American Legion. And, yeah, it just basically says, they post the conspicuously displayed at the above described place of business in conformance with the provision of the City of Decatur. I think we've seen these several other times. Corey just put one up out back here not too long ago. Anybody have any objections to this?
No,
If
not
not,
at
I'd
all.
look for a motion to approve both of them.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the posting of the ordinance signs.
Sure, I'll need to sign.
Oh, all three of us, or?
Yeah. And Jeremy was working on Ace
Yeah.
Hardware to sign his first one, but apparently I don't have it, so, but go ahead and sign it, and I'll just put them
Ken,
together.
they're both private parking lots, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the ordinance sign just prevents like trucks and stuff from parking in it?
No,
Well, for parking long-term in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
people coming in
And
and...
then
Parking when
the
they're not
officers
utilizing
can
their
watch those when
business.
Right.
they post these signs.
It's a place for all three of us to sign.
I think they're just, it's a matter of, we should follow through that Jeremy puts them up.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Who did the motions on this stuff?
Bill made the
motion.
motion,
Yeah.
Craig seconded it.
I think that's the key, is
We didn't sign off for
put it on Jeremy's schedule.
Yeah, there's 3 of them there, I think.
Lenny,
There's just 2 of them.
2?
did we ever
One copy for each.
get a sign up in the police parking lot? Just curious.
No, we have not yet.
Yeah. And, but our troubles are kind of gone too?
The larger size vehicles from the neighbor, but it's going pretty well. But I would still like to maybe get one day.
Yeah. We passed that a long time ago, and Jeremy's never...
Okay, well,
Most business
Yeah.
owners do pay for those signs. And then, I think,
so put a bug in Jeremy's ear to get it,
Jackson
get it down, posted down at your place, right?
The other guy's name.
Jeremy.
Dan Hunter was taking probationary status.
Okay. Next, Melissa. Do you want, hold on a second, let's go with the Loft House film thing first.
Did you,
Excuse me.
Herb said you didn't call for a vote. You got a motion, a second.
Okay, well, let's do that. Let's have a vote on approving the signs. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? There.
And that was at Ace Hardware,
Ace Hardware,
and
American Legion. Loft House Films, HCI, our favorite 3 letters.
We are working on our capstone project for the HCI program. So this is the part where we use our money to do a community project. And we have 5,000 from the city and 5,000 from Okra. And so I'd like to spend 5,000 to work with the Loft House Films on developing some video and marketing material for us to complete this project. And I have the
And
I have an estimate.
and Okra gives us the other 5. It's a $10,000.
10,000 and Okra we've already received that, and then we've got,
And what was it for? What are the films?
So for the 5,000, 2,300 of it is for tabletop flyers.
we're gonna do some handouts throughout town that are gonna be multi-purpose. That's what those are.
Okay.
That would announce events,
Marketing.
things going on, information.
What kind of video would this be?
This would be, we'd like to do 4 different videos, one a quarter, that would be a quick video of a welcome to Decatur. This is kind of what's going on, this is what's coming up. And we would use it as a tool to train everything from waitresses and wait staff to business owners, so that they can arm their staff, so when customers come in, they can share what's going on in Decatur with their customers.
Right. It was kind of I remember when we went through the meetings, trying to come up with what it was that we wanted to do as our capstone project. And I don't remember, what did we call this? This was a...
This is kind of our placemaking, storytelling track.
Yeah, instead of leadership, which was the other,
That was the other.
that had a lot of support.
So we're ready to get this going and wrap this program up.
Yep.
It's been going on.
Been going on a long time.
so is that the money we received already, Melissa?
We would have
or-
received money already, and I think it would have been funneled through Purdue University,
Okay.
and that came through an electronic transfer, and I think you
Okay.
let me know that we have that.
And then Okra's put in another 5 or we?
No, I
No,
misspoke. It was an Okra program, the money came from Purdue.
Okay, okay.
That's how they worked that.
And then the city.
It's a total of 10.
Yeah, it's a 50-50 thing. We have to do 5 and they'll do 5. Craig, question?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm noticing, I'm getting calls from Corner Cafe, for example, and the REV people are being guided to go to Fort Wayne, and Kim at Corner Cafe and another person or 2 are saying, give us some stuff to get,
And this marketing piece is going to be a tool to remedy that.
to keep people in town.
To let them know that on Sundays you can go to the Storybook Park for music, what hours the Decatur pool's open, when the concerts are, where you can get free Wi-Fi, that you can go to the golf course, all the activities that you can do to keep them here. this is gonna be one of those pieces that remedies that Kim can put in their hand.
But like,
Say,
Can
"Hey,
Rev, can you take it to
Yeah,
Rev and
can
deliver
we
it to
include
Rev?
that REV, because there's 20 people coming through there, 20 to 25 people
We can
every
absolutely
day.
drop that off at Rev as well. We're
Is
gonna,
it-
we're
is
gonna
it-
print 5,000 of these and
Perfect.
take them to where.
If you wouldn't
they
mind,
need to be.
share that with Kim. We're trying to work as Main Street, trying to put together the map, you know, the old map we had, a
Yeah.
couple years old, of the
Yeah.
downtown Main Street and the vendors and their stuff. If you wouldn't mind kind of wrapping that in there, and we'll,
Kim's been calling me as well.
thank you.
Or,
Include her in that team if you don't mind, and I think it's a great idea. We've got to keep these people, because they're pushing them out to Fort Wayne, and I don't want that.
yeah, it's all good, positive stuff.
I don't know, I didn't know Ken.
That's fine.
So I'd
That's
share
why I
that.
asked her, so what's the video gonna be? So, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve this,
I'll second.
and Bill seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Do you remember where we were paying that from?
Guys, just because, you remember when we started the HCI
Well, I
thing?
remember getting the money, the 5,000, but I don't remember what the other...
Wasn't even in this
5
year's budget, it was,
Well, it was like 3 years ago, I think.
yeah.
But we didn't, but did we budget for $5,000?
I believe what I remember is that you said it wasn't that much and that you would put it.
Well, the 5,000
Yeah.
I carried over
Okay.
for the grant,
Okay.
but I didn't know we
The new
were
5,000?
putting in another 5. That's what,
It's 10 total.
It's a grand total of 10,000, they gave us 5, and we gotta pay 5.
Yeah.
okay. So I don't think I don't know, I'll have to look
So,
for that other 5.
We
That's what I asked.
also would have already paid Alex Mendez. That's part of this as well,
Okay, I do remember
for like
him.
$3,800 or something.
Okay, so his is part of the 5?
No, no, no.
No. I'm confused,
We have
I'm sorry.
$10,000 total.
Okay,
5 from the city, 5 from the grant.
okay. And we paid,
We paid Alex $3,800-ish.
okay.
But that wasn't out of the 5.
That leaves 2,000.
What was that for, the art in the alley?
That's why I'm confused.
Huh?
HCI has 2 projects, this one and Alex,
Okay,
all coming out of the $10,000.
okay,
We've already paid Alex
okay.
$3,800.
Do you remember,
This is an invoice for $5,000. So we would have $2,000-ish left.
Okay.
But she's gonna need to find the
I
other
need
3,000.
5, yeah.
yeah, did you pay the Alex out of the grant funds, Phyllis?
Yes, unapproved money.
Okay, so basically, you got roughly 2,000 left from the grant, so we gotta come up with at least 3,000 more to
4,800 is
cover
gonna leave
this.
1,200.
1,200, yeah.
So I need to know.
Yeah.
So I know it's...
So what did Alex do? You guys know?
Was it the Indiana thing in the alley, or was it?
No. Part of our HCI grant was we are creating a Decatur on wheels.
Mhm.
So they
Yeah.
ACE is building
Yeah.
a Decatur on wheels for us that we can take, kind of like a little booth that we can take around to different events, and it's kind of like a welcome wagon that when this is at an event, you can come up and learn about everything going on in Decatur.
I must not have been around on that one.
Well, anyone could have attended the meetings, and then there, like I said, there were a group of people
It
there.
was,
I don't even know.
yeah, it was a lot of meetings.
A lot of meetings.
What was it, the Greater Decatur or what?
Nope.
No, it was an Ochre grant.
It all started out over at the Riverside Center. We had about 150, 200 people over there, and we all wrote on little pieces of paper. And
Right.
That's how the whole thing kicked off. And from
Oh.
there, from having 200 people, it got down to where it was about 10 at the most people.
Okay.
I mean, it's, you know, the people just kind of fell off the wayside. So,
Do you have here athletics?
I'm sorry?
Well, I have here HCI City Match Grant, $5,000. But I haven't mined this down, like I paid it out already. But I'll look at things later. So I just need to know, this is an additional to Mendez's, right? We paid him, and now we're going to pay another 5 to Loftown.
Mhm.
Correct. Okay. And it's all coming from, it's all for the HCI, correct? Okay.
And if you can't find the money, let me know. We can take it from my funds or something.
Just gotta make sure money available.
Council members, are you done with the claims yet? Because I think you ought to come up here for the next topic.
I don't know if he's coming or not.
He sent me a text. He had something he had to teach, and he's going to be late. I think he said he'd be here on 6:30. Melissa and the women that run the Pensy Depot would like to request a change on Pensy Depot rules, and they have good reasons, so...
We're in the third year of renting the Pensy Depot, and everything's been going really well up until the last couple of months. We've had 2 renters who we've needed to retain some money from their deposit because they either didn't leave the depot in the condition that was requested or something's been damaged, and their check has bounced. So we would like to change that all payment for rental, your hourly rental, and your deposit be made in cash.
Okay. If the check bounced, send them a notice that if they don't make it good, it's going to be turned over to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor has a program where they can collect that under a charge of check deception.
How many times have we rented it?
Twice.
Twice.
Both been in the last couple of months. Like I said, the 2 years prior, we've been in good shape and we haven't had any issues, but just recently, we've had some trouble. So I've talked with the Pensy ladies, and they are okay with changing the rules to include that we just accept cash for the deposit and no rental fee. I've talked with Phyllis, and if this is what's decided this evening, we would have some kind of a system where how we're receiving in money so that we keep a record of the cash coming in and where to put it, and so it's in a safe place and we all know
When they come
what's
back,
there and what's going on.
we'll sign if they,
Correct.
they should have something to sign if they did receive one too.
It's not just me that takes these depot rentals, it's the ladies in the utilities office that also help out.
I mean, I'm fine with that, but we take thousands of checks for utility bills, and how many bounce?
A lot.
So what's our recourse there? How
Well,
do
it goes to the bank twice and then it comes back to us, so we take it out of the utilities account, and then they gotta make it good. Kevin, how long does it usually take them to make that good?
when I get it's annoying and frustrating for
A
Pensy,
lot of paperwork.
but
With the utilities, we can shut their water off,
But
but
once they rent those.
at the depot, you can't do much.
The paperwork that we have.
Do we cash the check though before they rent it?
Yeah.
No, we don't. We hold it,
they're holding it.
and then they rent it, and then we get a report that they're good or not good, and the check's either returned or we have to cash it and
Two checks.
And there's
One's
2
deposit,
checks.
one's for rent.
one for the rental and one for the deposit, so that we can easily get the deposit back if there's not a problem.
That's why you don't deposit, so you get it back to us.
Yep.
Yeah, because we'll just call them back and say, can we carry your check off? Or they
Otherwise,
want
we
to come
deposit
pick it up?
the check if there was no problem.
Did their rental
And we have
check
to wait
bounce
2
also?
weeks for all of you to,
No, that's the
Approve.
last, when the rental went through, the deposit
the last in the rental was paid in cash, the deposit was paid
was
by
the
check.
check, and then when we deposited, it came back. And they were going to hold some money of it. So they were going to take out, because they didn't follow the rules, they were going to keep $40 of it or $60.
So if somebody's
So we
renting,
didn't get anything back for it.
people rent the pavilions at the park? I know that's
I
not
don't
through
know
you,
how
but how's that handled?
works.
Park and Recs.
I just want
They
to...
do it all, I don't know.
I get it's annoying, I just want to be consistent.
Yeah.
How, Tim, what do you think? What kind of record does the prosecutor
You have to-
have in this case that...
You have to run it through twice. It has to not clear on 2 occasions. You
What-
send them a notice, and if they don't respond with making the check good, then it gets turned over, and I think the prosecutor files charges then.
So the clout's there.
Yeah.
I think to stay consistent, I would just...
And there's another statute, if you don't want to go through the prosecutor, you literally can file a suit and seek treble damages on the basis that it's a civil check deception. There's a statute on that.
Is there a fee
You gotta,
But-
but you can also, well, you can collect reasonable attorney fees as part of that, too.
Tax it onto
That's
onto
one of
their
the
bill.
statute that allows that.
I don't know that it's any easier or necessary, but can you include a certified money order? That way you know it's there.
Problem is, I don't know how that works if you're just gonna return it, if you're not gonna cash it.
Right.
Is Penzi under the parks?
Mm-mm.
No.
Any
That's
reason it's
city
not?
property.
Penzi's not under the parks.
Any
After
reason
they
it's-
put all the effort into fixing it up, they kind of
we can-
wanted to
Yeah,
Well,
be on
I'm
top
just
of
asking,
themselves.
Parks handles that stuff every day. Don't have any problem. I just wonder why.
But what the parks handles it is not like the Penzi. I mean, it's... I don't
Got
know.
different rules?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Penzi's pretty pristine, and there's...
Well, I just wonder.
Yeah.
I mean, the cash is easy, right? I mean, it's not, I think there's a lot of people that carry cash around, but if they know they have to do the cash, they're gonna make it happen.
I guess at the time they inquire, you need to make sure they understand that the deposit, it all needs to be done in cash. So,
I would say, Melissa, you feel this is the way to go. Or, I mean, your group would like to do it this way?
Phyllis has talked to me about this, and I've talked with the Penzi ladies about it, and they're okay with going with cash. I think Phyllis mentioned that this might be an easier, less cumbersome way to go.
the only person that's going to hear about it is going to be you and the girls up front, because when people say, "Oh, what do you mean I can't write a check?" You're the ones that's going to have to deal with these people, not any of us. So if you're fine with it,
Yeah, that was my thoughts also.
I checked with the girls up front too. They just tell us what the
Yeah, they
rules
just
are.
put,
They were
and then
okay
what
with
the
it.
updated situation is.
It's fine with me.
okay.
So you're talking about the deposit, or
Talking about all-
also the
Right.
rent?
The
Oh.
rental and the deposit would all need to be in cash. The deposit is $100, and then the rental is $25 an hour with a minimum of 2 hours.
It's cheap.
It's very nice. I was just there for a graduation party. Looks great.
It's $100 deposit.
I wasn't my group.
25 an hour.
I was invited to a party. I don't know if it was that one or not.
I don't care. $100 an hour.
Okay, so someone want to make that motion or anything to go with this?
I'll go ahead and make that motion that all the transactions for rent and deposit are in cash.
Okay?
And then we'll make a good paper trail that when they bring in cash,
Yep.
we'll write them
Oh, yeah.
to them, and then when we give it back to them, they'll sign that they're receiving that money too.
You prefer seeing it this way, don't you?
I would, just for the fact that you're not dealing with these checks all the time. I mean, seems like it would be easier. I don't know, Mary, did you have a comment?
Well, but hotels, they keep your credit card on retainer. Is there a way to do that? And then paying the credit card if they don't do what they're supposed to do? We don't have a method to take credit card payment for the Penzi Depot. Not even a Square? Okay. Thank you.
Good
Second.
suggestion, though.
Yeah.
Got a motion and a second to change the rules at Penzi Depot. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
So is it as simple as I amended these rules, did I need to add to them and then bring them back for your approval, or what
Just got
do
it.
we do?
I think you just got the approval, so I just,
Before we
Okay.
do that, can I ask for one more question on these rules? In the rules, they say that we can hold partial or full deposit when they don't follow the rules or they damage something. But how do you know how much to hold and who you hold it on? Should we determine some dollar amount? Like if somebody forgets to lock the door or forgets to clean up, that's not really damages. But if they're putting nails in the walls and stuff, that's damage.
No breaking.
Should we make some kind of rule? Because to me, we may be treating one better than the others, or?
You could,
Yeah, I would hold the monies until the problem that they created is corrected.
Okay, but what's the dollar amount?
well,
Just, you hold that monies.
you hold it, and then
Yeah,
somebody
whatever.
could come to the board and say, this is the cost of
Yeah.
repairs.
I thought,
Board could approve it, and you deduct it from it.
I thought holding their, or not giving them back part of their deposit was for damages. I didn't realize that if they forgot to lock the door, we're going to keep some of their deposit.
Well, that's happened.
Okay, but
So, but
Right.
some of it hasn't. So that's why I want some kind of determination in the rules so that everybody's treated fairly.
after they rent it, Susie goes in and cleans it then, right? Somebody does. So when Susie goes in to clean it and she sees the door's unlocked, then
She makes it,
She
she
reports to
notifies.
me, and her and I confer about if something needs to be kept from the deposit or not.
so if somebody doesn't lock it back up, how much do you keep from their deposit?
It depends if there's any other offenses.
If there are no other offenses?
We're not deducting if you leave the door unlocked. However, I would say that in more than half the rentals, the doors are left unlocked. And it's getting to be where, do we need to have a penalty? Because what if somebody comes in there and when the doors are left unlocked and trashes the place?
Can be a comment?
It's a concern.
Well, if they were paying by check, the deposit, you can't just take a partial.
Well, that's what we've been doing, that's what they're paying. Because they recommend back to us, hold $40. And then we have to deposit the check, and write a check for the 60. And then that last one, it was a bad check then. So then we had to void the claim, and then we still haven't gotten hold of her to make the check good. So that's why I'm saying it would be nice. That's why I said, how about just do everything in cash,
Easily.
and then we can reimburse, or give
Yeah.
them, hold so much money, but then how much money do we actually hold from people?
I guess I don't really know how it works in previous deposits, but I kind of feel like if you put $100 down for damages and there's a damage, you just forfeited your entire $100.
See, now that's how I look at it, too. I always thought, if you're putting a deposit, you didn't follow the rules, then you don't get the deposit back, but not how we're doing it. So that's why I just want some,
That's
while we're
basically,
amending this, maybe we need to amend that also.
So on the rental thing, does it have a list of things like, make sure you lock the door, make sure this?
There are rules, and there's a lease, and there's a posting at the depot that says everything you're responsible for as a renter.
And does it say on there
It's not
that?
a secret.
Does
what
it
your
say on there
responsibilities
that
are
if you
as a
don't
renter.
lock the door, your deposit will be
It
retained?
does not say that, but it says lock the door, and probably half the people don't do that.
What's wrong with
And
people?
if you leave anything more than a reasonable mess, then we take the cleaning fee out of your deposit. Because in the rules, it says you're expected to leave it in a condition similar to how you found it. I don't expect you to clean the toilets, but you can't leave a mess.
And we wanted
And we
the,
want to,
we wanted the
I don't wanna be
fees.
rude, but people need to be held accountable when they rent and don't follow the rules.
we wanted the fees inexpensive because we wanted people to use it.
Right.
Is it too inexpensive that they just don't care? Like, whatever, we had our party, here's the $200 and we're done. Like, I wouldn't do that because I'm not a slob, but some people are. Like, I don't know how we fix that.
We're averaging about one rental a week, which is great.
Yeah.
But sometimes people are turkeys and they leave it in a mess.
Is that money then kept in an account for them to do?
I think when you rent something and you put a deposit down, you know, like, for example, an apartment or a structure, and if you don't abide by the rules, they don't come back and itemize that. They just keep your whole deposit. So,
I guess we're trying not to be complete jerks by refunding some of their money.
yeah, I think they don't if they don't abide by all our rules and they made the deposit, they have to understand that if they don't do what we're asking them to do, the deposit is forfeited.
It's like Phyllis is saying, who gets to make that decision about what's mess enough? to retain an entire $100 from someone.
Say if they don't follow the rules, they lose their $100. You basically said, like, the rules are rules, follow the rules.
Right.
The rules are the rules, follow the rules.
But Melissa's saying, we're gonna make her the bad guy, or?
I mean, if you leave the coffee pot unwashed and you've blown something that's in the microwave and you've spilled in every windowsill, is that, I mean,
Yeah,
what?
that's $100.
That's $100.
I'd say, take it.
So it's all or nothing.
Well, yeah, honestly, I feel like it takes the responsibility off of the person to have to make that decision about what's egregious or not. Because now it's like, okay, well, was this worse? I think there's a danger there too, by saying, well, yes, this was bad, but I know them, and so we're gonna. I think it's a either or.
Well, or you can take photos of what you're describing as the mess, and if you want, bring it to the Board of Works, and say that's sufficient to forfeit the security deposit. If you guys want to mess with it.
To you guys once a week, and I don't think you guys want to.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if you want to do that or not.
I mean,
So what we're saying is on the rules, it should say, any one of these rules not followed, you forfeit your $100 deposit. Is
I
that what we're
haven't
saying?
spoken with the Tenby ladies about this since Phyllis talked to me about it today.
Well, they're not here.
I know they're not here, but they created these rules, and they brought these rules for approval. And they do a wonderful job of being caretakers of that building.
Yeah, they do.
So
They really
I
do.
think it would be a great courtesy to at least run your idea by them before making a decision.
Well, do we want to not make a decision tonight? You want to run it by them? And
I think we
I would
just
like to.
concluded that the cash thing
The case thing is fine.
is done. Let them make that
Yeah.
decision.
As far
If
as
you guys come up with a plan on how you want to enforce it and decide to share it with us, that's fine with me too.
I think that's the point, right?
Yeah, I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
Let the Pennsy ladies deal with that. They
If
feel
there's
it's
a schedule of
Yeah.
what constitutes saving 25 versus 100, and they want to come up with that, that's great. But I
Yep.
think there needs to be that level of fallback. You can come back and say, well, here's why, right? And I think without that, there's some liability.
Yeah, and I would document the condition that you find so that you've got something to back it up.
Yeah.
we've already approved
For the
going to
cash.
cash only.
I'll check with the ladies and see what they'd like, and I'll let all of you know what.
There you go.
is.
How long have they been using this? 2 years?
Year 3.
3 years, and to me it looked like new. It looks great in there.
Mm-hmm.
I was just there Sunday.
Taking care of the building.
Yeah,
They really do.
that's good.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Hey, Kurt? This is a question. Are we being recorded but no sound tonight? As far as you know, has Innovative Concepts been in yet?
They're not coming in till tomorrow.
They are coming in tomorrow, though? Okay, that was big.
They're giving us training tomorrow, I know it's supposed to work.
Okay, it hasn't been, hasn't we? We've had video but no recording since February. We haven't had any.
Well, they uploaded new software, but then nobody got trained on it, so they're going to train
Tomorrow.
tomorrow, Sharon, Kurt, and Ethan.
Okay. I just had that thought when I turned this on tonight, so I almost thought I'd ask you. Denny Cookson. Denny Cookson has a rental property at 503 Stratton Way, and it's a slab house, and that slab is right at ground level. I mean, there's no raising to it whatsoever off the ground level. And at 503 Stratton Way, it's, go to the other picture. Nope, the other one, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, that's 503 Stratton Way, the house on the right. And you can see that the curb, there really isn't any curb. But he said in the 3 times in the last 4 years when it's flooded, he has pictures of kids standing in the street where the water's up to their knees. So he said a higher curb wouldn't do any good. He has since taken and cut a kerf along in the driveway to try to make water go between the houses and swale to the back that hasn't helped. 3 times, like I said, the last 4 years, that house is flooded when we have the real, couple-inch rainfalls in an hour's time or whatever. There is a storm sewer grate right there, and then the house to the north of it, as you see that, go to the other picture. There's the house you can see his in the far right over there, and this is, there's his house on the far right. House to the north is owned by Nancy Hackman, that's 433 Stratton Way, and then the next house to the north is David Mosier, and there's a storm grate there. Don and Jeremy both say that is the lowest spot on the street, right, Don?
Yep.
As far as elevation goes, that's the low spot. And Denny Cookson's called me twice and chewed on me pretty good. He said he's taken this up all the way back in the days of Nate Roomslag, and that something was going to be done. He's talked to Jeremy and Don. Jeremy and Don have both told him that there's nothing much they can do unless we make arrangements for them to do something, that they can't just go on private property and make a swale or put storm tile or whatever. Go back to the other picture, and you see the driveway at Cookson's. There's nowhere really to run a swale because his driveway comes over so far. So Don and Jeremy said really the only place to put a swale would be at that very lowest spot between the Hackman and the Mosier house, and that we would have to get permission from both of them to grant us an easement to do such a thing. Now, Denny Cookson says he's talked to both of them, and they said that they're both okay with it. And I said, well, did you ask the guy to the far north, what if some of those trees have to come out? No, I didn't ask him that. Because if we go digging there, you may kill a tree. I don't know. So, Don, what would you actually do if you did something like that? What would the procedure be? As you know, the backside of Stratton Way, those backyards fall off drastically down into the park. So it's just getting the water back there is what we need to do.
Drop. Now, Nate put a new tile in, a 12-inch tile.
Where?
Well, I'm looking to see which
Okay.
property line he's going down to close 37.
So this Cookson guy's the lowest guy?
No, his house, these houses here evidently must be up a little bit enough off
The elevation of the base of the house is higher.
it's
than
higher
his.
than
He's the low guy, right?
You can
His
see
house
that.
is the low guy, but
Yeah.
the street elevation, this is the low.
You kind of can see that house north is higher.
Right,
His
but the
round.
his house is below street level?
It's pretty even.
Pretty even. It's
Way
just
it looks.
the water gets deep out in the street, and it just keeps making its way up toward the house, and next thing you know, it's coming in the house.
Is there an easement on that side yard
I don't think so.
for public utilities?
The two homes that I talked to you, Ken, about putting a swale through,
Yeah.
is where Nate put the new storm line. See that blue line?
That blue line?
Because you can see his driveway
Yep.
at the...
Yep, the one-
Across it. So Nate put a 12-inch in there. Jeremy suggested that we upsize that to 24, rather than try to cut a swale between those houses.
So we've already dug there and put a 12-inch tile.
You have a storm sewer easement, you just don't have enough room to make a swale, you have to get more easement to make a swale. The swale's kind of
So-
it's gonna work, it's gonna run, but a pipe, 24-inch would probably do it too. 12 obviously wasn't big enough.
What about out in the street itself, are if you can have a 24 running to the back there, but if the lines out in the front to get it to the 24 aren't,
Well, we'd have to upgrade that inlet where they come together right there. That would be made to a larger inlet to take the 24-inch pipe. It's only big enough to take a 12-inch in it right now, so we put like a double grate there. It'd be a bigger box, and then run 24 straight back.
now is
Then
that,
we would need more easement.
we would not need,
We obviously already have one, I assume he got one. I don't know how you would have put it in without one. Well, idea. We'd have to find out if we have an easement in there.
I think that would be good first.
I guess Jeremy would like to see us go with a 24-inch than an open ditch.
So what kind of cost is involved in something like that?
You're gonna have probably somewhere around $6 a foot in it. And pipe, go up 24-inch, maybe close to 8. That price is a little low lately.
Like Denny said to me, he goes, there's nothing, he goes, he says, nothing I can do. He says, the only one that can help me with this is the city.
Originally, that was an 8-inch line. I do know that, and he said that, he emphasized it to a 12-inch, thinking that would fix it. It was an old 8-inch clay is what it was originally. And like I said, I did some repairs up from there,
There.
that line right there, you see? This particular inlet there is where that gas, that one's where that gas line went through the middle of the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hoping that would grab some of that water before it went down there, and it helped. But when you get a 4-inch rain,
He called me a week ago, right after the house flooded. I told him that I would look into it, and I guess because we haven't been out in a week's time, he called me again today and wanted to know what I'd done. And I said, well, I've talked to Don and Jeremy. We've talked about what we can do. I said, but you're going to have to be patient. Give us a little time. Well, yeah, you've been telling me to be patient for the last 4 or 5 years here since the first time it flooded.
What's that blue line's coming around to the front of his house?
I think he put a tile in, or Nate put one in for
You know how big it is?
Nope.
It'd be really awesome to run that thing right out to the street in his front yard. Is he low? Is
He
he...
was the lowest house out of all of them through there.
Right, but I mean at the street, does it go like this in front of his house?
No, the low point is where the blue line goes all the way to the back.
Okay.
And when that addition was built, you know, nowadays we put an overflow swale in, so it can only come up so high and run out.
Gets over the curb and goes away.
When this addition was done, they didn't think about that,
Oh.
so he is the lowest house out of all of them.
Yeah. I was just thinking, you know, I see that, and that makes a spark in my mind. I mean, maybe running a tile over there from his front yard to the street and get rid of that water.
Well, the problem is the water all runs out between the other two homes, and you've got to get it out of there.
And it's not getting away fast enough in an 12-inch pipe.
No, the 12-inch just is a big...
Because that doubled the size of the 8-inch pipe. That takes twice as much water. So this guy's got a hell of a lot of water.
That picks up all the way, the high point is clear back at that cul-de-sac street that trails in, runs all the way down. The low point is right there.
Okay.
And then it goes back up to about in the middle, right about the center of the picture. And so that whole section drains to him.
So with all that rain we recently had, do we have other areas that are like this, that they're just not?
Oh, I've got a stack of complaints of water
Yeah.
in their backyard. I asked Ken, how many of these do I need to address right now? I mean, you know, I could spend every waking minute calling people.
I've had phone calls where people say, asking me, I think we got a water main break down here. I call Jeremy and they go down there and there's water in the yard and they check it for chlorine to see if it's city water or rainwater, and it's rainwater. It's just a lot of that happening right now. So, Board of Works, I feel kind of bad for the guy. I mean, it's not our fault that his house is so low or that it was built that way originally, but then again, he's had...
FEMA money?
Hmm?
Can we get some FEMA money?
Yeah, buy him out, huh?
Well, I mean, that's a heck of a lot you can do if his house is the lowest house in the...
They literally built a whole addition with a moat around it. When it rains, it's...
Is that our responsibility
I think that's the newer...
Well, that's what he keeps telling me. He says, it's your water out there in the street, and you're not controlling your water. He says, you need to control your water so that it doesn't come up and flood my... And he doesn't live there. It's a rental property, but it's a nice rental property.
That was probably one of the last homes to get built in there too, because that lot was low.
Probably.
Whoever built it, instead of raising it up to meet the neighbors, they left it low.
Why didn't they build that up first?
Because it costs money to pack dirt in.
That's true. I understand that.
I I mean, Nate tried to fix it, you guys have already spent money trying to fix it. You've
Fix it,
upgraded
right.
what was in there originally. I don't know what your responsibility is. It's your choice.
Is it only flooding when we get 4 inches of rain?
4 inches of rain, so that's the time it's called when we've had these quick flash floods.
Talking about 4 inches, maybe 2 inches in the...
Yeah, if it comes fast enough, that's
Yeah.
when the problem is. Like when we had the flash flood warning the other night, that's when it happened.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You said so many dollars per foot, but how many feet are there?
I would have to,
Can you take a measurement right now?
yeah, I can.
Is this going into his basement only, or?
It's on a slab, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
know.
it's on a slab.
It's literally running the door.
Yeah, it just runs right in.
Well, 'cause like, I mean, almost everybody on our street, basements flood from
Yeah, a
rain-
lot of
rain
flooding
like that.
down, a lot of basements down in Stratton, but
What?
170 feet plus an inlet.
270?
170.
170.
So,
So $1,500, $2,000.
it's like $2,000.
Probably. Then you gotta restore the, you got seating, you got graded, flavored, put it in.
Don, you're the stormwater guy. Is that our responsibility to get it off the road?
Pretty gray area. I mean, it was designed that way, and it's been that way for the last 60 years. We've improved it by putting a 12-inch in versus 8, but you still, under a flash flood, if you're going to take care of every drainage problem in Decatur for flash floods, you can't afford to put big enough pipes in. We've seen it hit the doors right here at City Hall. I mean,
I was standing right out there one night when it was like that.
it's whatever you guys want to protect the city. You know, if you want to be able to take a, you know, a 2-inch rain in 15 minutes, then it's going to be expensive.
If you were,
Big pipe.
Don, if you were to, out of all these complaints, would this earn its way to the top of areas to fix? I mean, we should want to fix all of these problems over time,
But
but
it's like 10th Street down towards Nutman in that area, by the GE property, flooded again. We spent time this week going through that. It's a 36-inch storm sewer that runs all the way from, it bends at Dayton down 11th Street all the way to Washington Street. Okay, that's 36-inch pipe is a huge pipe. But it still isn't enough to take all that water. I mean, I'd have to upsize it to a 48-inch or a 60-inch pipe. You know, somewhere you got to draw the line.
Right.
Where where are you going to stop?
And you're talking about a heck of a lot bigger area than this.
Yeah, but, you know, I don't, you guys want to spend the money?
How far is that pipe from that red dot in front of his house to the street?
Say that, of that?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a tile that's going around his house. No, no.
Hang on.
From the red...
Yeah, right there to the street, straight ahead. Yeah.
Or it's 45 feet, basically.
And then but we have no catch basin there.
No, the problem is the low point back between the two homes where the pipe goes out, back all the way up to his house. He's the lowest point, so that water tried to go out down across his driveway between his neighbor's house and his. His neighbor's house, that's 6 inches higher, 8 inches higher, so it never gets in theirs, it runs in his garage. Does it run in the house? I don't know. I know
Yeah.
it's in the garage.
Yeah, it does.
It makes it into the actual house.
That's what he says.
Yeah.
I drove by there a day after he had the complaint, and I saw a couch sitting out front that looked like they must have gotten wet, that sitting outside.
So he put that little trench drain you see across there, and that's a 4-inch tile.
See that diagonal?
It's not handling.
That
Mm.
doesn't do anything.
I'm just thinking out loud. I didn't know
Yeah.
the double the size of the pipe.
Like I said, if you were on the phone with the guy and he's yelling at you, telling you that the water in the street is the city's problem, and he wants to know what we're going to do about our water that we have out there, it's our responsibility to put storm drains in, handle the water, and it's not handling the water. Because what am I supposed to do? He says, I'm at your mercy. Now, if you want me to tell him no, I want to know what I'm supposed to tell him.
I mean, you got it, flash floods or flash floods, you got several places in town that do that.
I mean, it's one thing, like the guy that called me down here at First Street, so, and the way to fix his basement problem is he has to spend money. In this guy's instance, nothing he can do. He's stuck.
He can raise his house. Like the guy over here on Master Drive.
Yeah.
Remember that guy? I mean, that sounds, and he was willing to do it because he was getting so much flooding.
I'd like to see us fix it, but I don't want to pick favorites. You know, when we have lots of people with these kind of issues.
Neil Long had 6 inches of water in his basement that same night. Sewage.
But primarily, was that water coming from our storm sewers in Homestead, or was it coming from a field behind his house that wasn't in the city limits?
It came from our sanitary sewer line. And the surface water that came across through Homestead was from the field. But I mean, we have issues all over now, so it's whatever you guys
What-
want to do, I don't care.
Okay, Don, we have issues all over town. Is any water getting in their house other than their basement? Because basements are notorious that get water in. I mean, this guy's got water going into his house and his couch got wet.
You get a lot of crawl spaces flooded,
Okay,
basements flooded.
but are their
Living
furniture
rooms.
getting wet?
Only if they have it in the basement.
Yeah, I guess I'm going back to that. If we could help this guy, if Jeremy thinks doing a 24-inch pipe will help,
He thinks it'll be less of an eyesore to put the pipe in, upside the pipe versus cutting the open ditch.
well, I'd like to see us help him that his furniture, that the water doesn't come in the front door and get into his living room. I think that would be awful disgusting in my...
When does the homeowner need to take? I know my yard has, my water doesn't come into my house, but my yard's underwater line, so I'm gonna run a bunch of tile throughout my yard to take care of it. If you were to put a 12-inch tile along his driveway with a guard drain, would that help this problem too? Talking out loud.
Well, we already had a professional engineer double the size of that pipe and take it off the street, at the low spot on the street.
Didn't work.
Well, it didn't work in a flash,
Flood.
Flood,
yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say.
That's right, yeah, nothing's gonna help you with the flash flood.
No,
Yeah, if we even take it up to, would you say a 24? Is that
Yeah,
gonna,
but-
is that gonna do it?
we don't know.
I just was curious when I was doing the area, the size of that, because you said it doubled from 8 to 12, and it does, it doubles the amount of volume.
Correct.
24, you go from,
That's like 8 times the volume, or 12 times the volume.
Yeah.
Every time you go up 4 inches, it doubles the volume of pipe
I mean,
in
24
diameter.
will be taking 9 times the amount that originally was taken through it,
Right.
so.
So we're gonna create another problem in somebody else's house.
Now, when the flooding was occurring and the river backed up into those backyards, did that house go underwater then? Do you know? I don't know, because I wasn't around. I know Stratton became an island. How many of that, I think his home was underwater then, wasn't it?
I don't know, you can click on that house and see how long he's owned it. He probably didn't even own it then. It's a rental.
I had to do the stand back Nancy's house, right,
Yeah,
the water from out of the house.
so, you know, you can upsize that to 24 inch, and when the river comes up again, he's still going to flood.
I like your suggestion, buy him out.
Yeah, I'd see if it gets on a FEMA program there, it's a rental anyway. I don't know.
And did he buy it after?
Nate's not a moron. He
Because-
doubled the size of the pipe to get
Click,
the water out
Don,
there.
click on his property and see when he purchased that.
I gotta get out of this thing.
I got a couple.
council?
Yeah.
Good. You didn't know one of those.
I've got an ordinance and resolution.
Go ahead.
The guy on, was it Master or Mix? I never remember the
The
guy.
guy that raised his house.
He raised his house.
There's one on Monroe Street too, by Alm Street. They raised theirs instead of being bought out. They just raised it.
Yeah, well, this guy actually did it on his own, because
Well, I think he did it on his own
he
too.
was having trouble.
Because if they wanted their house left there, they had to raise it
Yeah.
above flood level.
Mhm.
Kurt's gonna pull up the flood maps and see whether that lot's affected real quick.
If he's not in FEMA, he's not gonna buy it.
Right.
We're all trying to get our Adams County JIS to come up at the same time here, it looks like.
We're all slowing it down.
Too many people trying to get in. Right, I give up.
Are we waiting?
You want to come back to this?
No, you got 2 or 3 things.
Bill and Craig, what's your opinion on this? I mean, again, even if we do, like you said, Craig, 24 carry a lot more water, but again, don't take me wrong, I'm not trying to be negative, because I don't know how the whole, if you say you would have to double the size of the inlet then, Don, is that what you would do?
I would, yeah.
Out in the street, yeah.
It just,
The whole thing, I had this happen to me in my house where it flooded 2 times in 6 years. And I put an 18-inch pipe next to a 15-inch pipe and another inlet. Ran it across, ran it through, which quadrupled the size of the amount of water, or way more. And I've never had a problem since. But there's 15 feet after the water gets down there that it's lower than where it started. So if we're talking about elevation right here, and the elevation right there is only about 2 foot lower at the right side of that pipe where it exhales or where it goes out, exits, and the water comes up, it's not going to get away anyway. It doesn't matter what size the pipe is. Just like I
Keep
said,
backing up down. It'll back up down
right,
towards
right,
it.
because
That's the
he's
floodplain
doubled the
map
size
right there.
already.
So his backyard, the back of his house is right on the edge of the floodplain.
Right. What's it? You can't tell elevation change on that, can you?
Oh, yeah, I can. It's really slow, but we'll see a little low.
And that's the only reason I say that, Ken. I mean, we can put pipe in the ground, but if it can't get away,
Yeah, you're jumping that 24 into the floodplain. That's what I'm saying. If the river comes up,
Yeah,
and obviously if
it's
that
gonna-
backyard goes underwater,
It's gonna
it
go.
could be causing the water to come back up through the inlet and
Right.
flood back around you.
correct. And if we
And
flood,
that may have been why Nate only went with a 12-inch.
probably, because he's not a fool. What do we do? If we move this problem to somebody else,
Craig,
Christner,
there's your contours. So
790.
So this proves that it's not going to be eligible for a FEMA buyout.
correct.
Correct. Okay.
788 is...
788's the back line there,
I feel bad for him.
So we're looking at,
and his house is 780, it looks like.
so he's got 8 foot of drop.
So you see the 790 line comes up to his house, and then it goes into his front yard, and then back around. So he is the lowest lot.
I think Nate tried to fix it then.
No, he's,
So the street, you see that bowl around the low point of the street, that's a 790 also, same grade as his house. That's why I say that bowl floods about like you see it draw there, and then it starts pushing out past his house. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You can see that it's...
Okay, it's 790, I see.
It's the same elevation.
So,
here.
yeah.
His house is the one where it says
Look,
790.
Yeah, that's 790.
This is the same elevation
Right.
as his house.
Yeah.
So that water gets to that level, it's gonna be
Yep.
there. We got 2 foot of fall to get it out to there, 88 to 90, 2 foot of fall in 170 feet. We're not gonna make a difference.
Maybe we need to have him come in and show him
Well,
all
I'm just
this.
saying, what we need to show the man is that map right there and say, guys, you know, we can get the water away from your street, but when it gets to 790 in that green area, nothing's getting away. Because your elevation of your house is at the same height as that drain. And your remedy is to elevate your house. Huh? I don't know who built the
I'll take it from there. I'll
Okay.
have Don and Jeremy meet with me and Cookson and show him all this.
I mean, that's the fact right there. That's why he put a 12-inch pipe.
Only went with a 12-inch, if there's something else that, you know, if he had a reason for only going 12, it may be because he didn't want the floodwaters coming backwards and flooding him out that way too. Like Kurt just said, back of his house is actually 20 feet or less off the road.
Mhm.
So I came up about 26, but all of Stratton's going to frame it.
Yep. Stratton Island. Okay. Tim, what did you have tonight? Because I know you have something.
Yeah, here's a copy of the Whittle contract, purchase agreement that's been signed, and then we've done the title work. It's clean, so I just need to know when you guys would be available for a closing, probably sometime next week. We haven't latest until the 14th, but we can be ready sooner than that, probably Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, if that works for you, Ken, and I'll check with the Whitles. And
He's been back out on his bike.
On his bike?
Yeah.
Really? I know he's every week I see him every week at church, and he's getting that much better each week. Okay, next week, Tim?
Is there, you have a preference, Tuesday or Wednesday?
I'm,
Authorization for him to sign and take.
either day's
we'll
fine for
close
me.
with
Either day,
this.
okay with you, next week, Tuesday or Wednesday?
I don't need to be there, do I, or do I? I mean, I didn't know. I mean,
I'm trying to remember.
So.
I'll look. Do you have a preference of Tuesday or Wednesday?
Are you the
The
Signing.
test?
Oh, I will have to write the check for him.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get you a settlement statement so you know what. Yeah.
We don't want to hire Tim to, you know.
Other than, I have a noon meeting on Tuesday, and other than that, anytime Tuesday or Wednesday is fine.
Okay. Well, closing.
Do you want this back, or is this go to Phyllis?
That goes to Phyllis.
It's supposed to Phyllis.
Notary.
So just let us know.
Okay, and then, all right, the second thing, Mary Byler brought up the a concern about artwork and what happens if a piece falls and damages somebody else's, and apparently that's actually happened already. So what I would suggest is that, people that take advantage of displaying their art sign an indemnification agreement that basically says they understand that they're assuming the risk that something could happen. The other issue is, people are bringing stuff in and taking stuff out. If somebody falls, we don't want to be responsible unless it's our negligence that caused it. So I'd suggest, I just drafted something, basically you just fill in the names of the person and or an organization and that person who's signing on behalf of it. You date it, and then that person signs. So it's pretty straightforward, but I think it provides the city with a little more protection. And what I would suggest is the authorize making use of this to avoid that kind of a circumstance, because, I don't know the value of some of the things that are being displayed, but if you had something that's valuable and it got damaged, I don't know that the city wants to assume the liability for it. So.
I concur.
Yep.
Are we responsible for this stuff too, or they have their own insurance policy?
We have insurance. We pay it though. No, they pay it now. We were paying it, they're paying it now.
They're paying it now.
Okay,
Yeah.
on the city
Is this
side,
for-
I just wondered about
which-
the liability.
This is for the stuff hanging out here.
Oh, we don't have any coverage on that stuff. Is that what you're
That's,
talking about?
yeah.
well,
Yeah. Okay, I think you were talking about the sculpture.
no, I'm talking about displays here.
Need a snowball.
Or, you know, it might be down the road if people are displaying things down at the Creative Engagement Center, you know,
Yeah,
it's,
we should have something.
I think you need to have something to try to protect yourself, so I just drafted something pretty basic, but,
We use the same form down there, you think?
yeah,
Okay.
I just mentioned that it would be, in order to write, the right to display art on city-owned or leased property, that way it covers both places. So, you know, I guess if you're okay, you
Give a
know,
motion?
make a motion to approve this, and then
I'll make a
from here on
motion
out,
to
it'll be
approve
yours.
it.
Yes, second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this waiver of liability for displaying of art. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
And then
You
what
just
I...
made several copies
I just
of it?
made a few copies that...
Basically, that just says that the artist accepts responsibility and
Yeah,
liability for
right.
public
Yep.
display.
Now, if it's damage because of our negligence, we can't exonerate ourselves.
We might want to scan that, put it in so that
But like if,
Melissa, Mary, anybody can get a copy of that.
yeah, it just takes the liability, if we have a storm or something.
What else you got?
Okay. Next thing is, I've been trying to get this straightened out with Lisa Herbert. Back when the River Greenway Trail was put in, it was funded through a DNR grant. Apparently, and that was done back in the 80s, apparently there was supposed to have been some type of restrictive covenant included in all deeds of conveyance where the River Greenway was constructed, or if it was an easement, it was supposed to be included in the easement. For whatever reason, none of those documents included this restrictive covenant. When we did the nature preserve, that too was funded through a DNR grant. So when DNR is reviewing the deeds for the nature preserve, they pulled up the deeds and easements on the River Greenway and discovered this. So Lisa Herbert down at DNR is now requiring us to clean that up. So there are, most of the property along there is currently owned by the city, but there's a couple properties that are not. And if you look at the original DNR grant for the River Greenway, it was shown to have actually started on the north side of, be on the west side of the river, north of the Chamber Building, all the way up to Jackson Street. So that little green strip area there is where it is supposed to start. So what I've done is I've gone through and all the deeds that this for properties that the city owns, I've drafted new deeds that the city's conveying basically to itself that now has this restrictive covenant in it. We're going to have to record this, and then we have to send it down to her so that they can put that in their records. There's two properties that I'm still working on. One is the Spalding Trust, and it's south of the train crossing.
On Mercer.
Yeah, on Mercer. There's a place there that we actually have a lease, but we don't own it, so I think Joe Spalding is the trustee, so I'll
Yes.
try to get hold of him and make sure we can get it from them. And then the other is the little strip that Community Family Services still owns. And I thought we had that worked out, and then the guy left that was the director,
Okay.
and now they're
He got
trying to,
left.
and now they're trying to sell it, so I've got to get a hold of somebody there to work out the details.
You'd think they would want to get that
I-
worked out since they're trying to sell it.
I would, you know, they can't use it for anything, so I don't know why they just don't gift it to us.
Jerry Teeple, Jim Compton, they were both on
There's-
the board.
I've got the name of Tom Oliver down in, I think, Portland.
Yeah.
And he had given me a name of an attorney down there too. I don't know if she's still their attorney, but I'll find out. But that's who I'm going to have to work with on that. Anyway, what I need is approval for the mayor to sign these deeds so we can get them recorded, at least with regard to the city's property. And the other thing is, there's no rhyme or reason how these properties were originally titled. Some of them are the city of Decatur, Prince Park and Recreation Department. couple of these older ones are Board of Parks and Recreation of the city of Decatur. So it almost gives the impression that somebody on the Parks Department signs this. I don't think that's the case. So what I would like is for the Board of Works to authorize the mayor to sign all deeds on behalf of the city so we can get these recorded and sent down to the state.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Now, do you need, the Lido property has all been taken care of. You don't need authorization to sign that?
No, you authorize that, it's
2 weeks
just,
ago.
yeah, and it's just a matter of setting up the closing. It's going to be funded out of the sewer bond funds, so we have the money readily available, and, you know, from our perspective, we want to gain control of that property, and from the Lido's perspective, because of their health issues, they'd like to get it sold as soon as possible.
The next issue we'll deal with on that property is what to do with it.
What to do with it, right?
You know, there's a building there. Do we take it down? What do we do?
Yes.
Yeah, and there's, yeah, they're,
Let's light it all here. I'm sure the
Yeah.
company would like that too.
We,
okay.
It's not a very big building either.
Oh, it isn't.
And then with regard to council, I've got an ordinance, a resolution that I'll bring up, and that the ordinance is to address the sidewalk changes that Kurt would like to see made in our code. And I'll maybe have Kurt just kind of give a brief overview of that, you know, before we introduce this and take action on it. So,
You can do that in council?
yes, council. So that's all I had for Board of Works.
Okay, good. Anybody else have anything? If not, look for a motion to take about 7 minutes.
Motion to adjourn.
second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Board of Works is adjourned.